Hakadosh Boker on Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Amud Aleph. We're just going to start on the last line on Mumchet Amubet. Amar Rabba Amar Chanan Rabbi Yochanan. Says Rabbi Chanan Rabbi Yochanan. Noach lo le'adam sheyavo al safek eshet ish v'al yelbim pnei chavero berabim. A person, it's better for him to actually come and have a relations with a safek eshet ish. Yeah, because even though eshet ish is mamash so kol kach chamur and everything, and not to embarrass somebody publicly. Menala, how do we know such a thing? Midrash Rabba from Rabba. The Dari Shava Rabba came and he expounded. What does it mean in pasuk? Uvtzali samechu v'ne'esafu karu lo damu. Amar David lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says David HaMelech in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono Shel Olam, says Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the universe. Because of this woman, I was happy. Why? Do you know if they would tear open my skin, my blood wouldn't even pour out, because they came and they embarrassed me so many times about Bathsheba. And not only that, even if they're going to be coming and learning, which in order to come into to thing, they would tell me, David, so they used to come to David, they used to know somebody has relation to Mary. What's halacha? Why would they do that? To embarrass him. I tell them, mitato bechenek. He gets chenek, but he has olam haba. But amalbim penei chavero berabim. Meaning that's how he used to answer them. He used to answer them. You're right. It could be that somebody that's comes on Shetish, he gets, but at least okay, fine. He gets chenek, but that's it. But then he gets olam haba. He says here they don't even get olam haba. So that's why by safek shetish, even of David HaMelech, it's much better the safek shetish of Bathsheba than even being malbim penei chavero parabim. Next Gemara says the Gemara, Amar Morzutra Bartuvia Amarav. Says Morzutra Bartuvia and the name of Rav. The Amnila Amar Rav Chana Bar Bizna. Says Rav Chana Bar Bizna. Amar Rabbi Shimon Hasida. And the name of Rabbi Shimon Hasida. The Amnila and sometimes Rabbi Shimon Yochai. Says Rabbi Yochanan name Rabbi Shimon Yochai. Nochla lo shapil atzmo ki b'shana hesh. It's good for a person to throw himself into a furnace and not to embarrass people publicly. Menala, how do we know these words? Mitamar. From Tamar, the Ktiv says the Basuk, he mutzet v'ishalcha l'chamia. She's going to be taken out and she's sending to her father-in-law. So Amar Rav Chinana bered Ravidi, says Rav Chinana, the son of Ravidi, my dichtiv, what does it mean in the Pasuk? V'lo tonu yishet amito, that a person will not come and will not by onat dvarim. Right? What does that mean? Am sheitecha betorah u'mitzvot al toneu. Do not come and to do this for the nation that is with you in Torah Mitzvot, meaning this nation that they're with you, that they're doing Torah Mitzvot, you should not come and you should not do ona'at to them. So Amar Rav says, a person should be very careful in the ona'ah of his wife. He says, why? Because since she's very easy to start crying, her ona'ah is very close, meaning a person has to be very, very careful, because especially from the wife, she could start crying because she could get pkuah, she could be get, and Kadosh Baruch Hu, and it's very, very problematic, because at the end of the day, here you have it. Amar Rabbi Elazar says Rabbi Elazar, from the day that the Bet HaMikdash was going to be destroyed, Sharet Tefillah were closed. Says Pasuk, that even if I'm going to come and I'm going to start screaming to Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu closed the windows of the prayers. And even though the Sharet Tefillah were closed, Sharet Demaot lo ninalu. The Sharet Demaot were not closed. Shneimar says the Pasuk, Shimat Filati Hashem Shemati Yazina El Dimati Al Techerash. Do not keep quiet to my dim'ah, which means that for sure that I know that through my dima'ot, through my tears, you're going to accept my tefillot. Amar Rav, and Rav says, anybody that goes after the advice of his wife, nofel begehinam. Yeah, I'm sure you want to tell this to your wife. Yeah, they fall in gehinam. Shneimar says the pasuk. Yeah, rak lo haya ke'achav. It wasn't like Achav that Izevel meaning she was the one that came and she caused him to do all these bad things. This is the wife of Achav. Amaleh Rav Papa Abaye, says Rav Papa to Abaye. But people say, he says, if your wife is so short, bend down and listen to her. Right? That's what you're supposed to do. You heard. If the wife is bend down, listen to her. You have to listen to your wife all the time. And so the Gemara la Kashya, ha b'mile de alma, ha b'mile de beta. If you're going to go after your wife in mile de alma, right? So therefore, don't be somech on your wife. You have shikul adat. But if it's something to do with to do with the things which are to do in your bait, you always have to listen to your wife, and that's it. Anything to do with the house, the wife's the boss. Yeah, make sure that she's the one that's in charge. Or another explanation, If it's mila dishmaya, so therefore don't listen to your wife to do with the Torah mitzvot. Because b'derech klal, right, the husband is more baki in Torah mitzvot than the woman. But if it's mila de alma, there are exceptions to the rules. I've seen the women, and some women are mamash chaval al. Yeah, but the ham mila de alma. But if it's going to be mila de alma, right, that's what, yes, you're going to listen to your wife. Okay, next. Amar Rav Chasta says Rav Chasta, Kol ha'sharim ninalu chutz misharei onah. All the sharim were closed of tefillah except for sharei onah. Shneimar says the pasuk, V'nei Hashem nitzav al chomat anach u'yado anach. What does that mean? Smash Madra Kodesh Baruch Hu's on the wall, and he's paying attention to somebody that's going to be me'anet chavero, and therefore he has the kelim to come in order to judge him quickly. Amar Rabbi Elazar says Rabbi Elazar, Hakol nifra b'idei shaliach. Do you know HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he pays back through a shaliach all the averot except for ona'ah. Shneimar says in the pasuk, uvyado anach. What does that mean? He himself pays back for ona'ah. Meaning everything else, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends a shlichim, sends a malachim, the but on this, it's bichvodo be'atzmo, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Amar Rabbi Yavhu, says Rabbi Yavhu, shelosha ena pargod min al bifnehem. There's 3 sins that the pargod, the mechitzot, are not going to be closed in front of them. What are those 3 exactly? Ona'ah, gezer, avodah zarah. Ona'ah, as it says in the pasuk, v'yado anach, which means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that's going to do this. And gezel, it says, chamas v'shod yishama ba'al penei tamim, right, al panai tamim, it's on my face. Avodah zarah is written, ha'am machisim oti al panai tamid. So since it's written, that means there's no mechitzot. It's like mamash straight in front of the face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So one more time, avodah zarah, gezel, and ona'ah. Next, Amar Rav Yehuda, says Rav Yehuda, Le'olam yeh adam zahir b'tvu'ah betoch beto. A person should always be careful that there's always going to be grains in his house. What? Exactly. Why? But meaning parnasa. Because the person always is, usually they start fighting because of parnasa. Shneimar says the pasuk, Hasam givuleh shalom, chelev chitim yasbi'ech. What does that mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving sova, which is chelev chitim in the house. There's going to be shalom. And if not, there's going to be merivah, which means that a lot of people, they start having problems with shalom bayit because they have parnasa problems. Rav Papa says, that's what people say, kemishla sare mikada. Kemishlam, sorry. What does that mean? When it's nigmar, the seorim, right, that they're already going to be there in the kad, in the jug. So therefore he says, Naki shvati tigra beveta. So then you could already hear the kol of merivah start ding dong. It starts like, how do you call it? Singing or hearing, right, in the house. Because obviously the second that you start hearing that there's problems of parnasa, that's when usually there's going to be a problem of shalom bayit. The Amar of Chinana bar Papa says Chinana bar Papa, a person should always be careful of teruah inside of his house. Shelo nikru Yisrael dalim ela lisket teruah. But Israel are only going to be called dalim only to do with teruah, that it's going to be chaser to them. Shneimar b'zeh vayayim zera Yisrael uchti vayachnu alehem vayashchitu divul haaretz uchti vayidal Yisrael meod mibnei Midyan. They became poor. So therefore, obviously, it's because of maspik ochel babayit. So therefore, it's very, very important that a person should always have a lot of food in the house. Amar bichelbo, says bichelbo, leolam yadam zayid bichvod ishto. This a lot of people they never learn this before they get married. So you have to teach it to them afterwards. A person has to be very, very careful in the kavod of his wife. She'em bracha metzuya betoch beto shel adam ela bishvil ishto. Because a person that's not going to have bracha inside the house of a person unless it's going to be because of his wife. Shneimar ulavram eti bavura. So Avram was done good because of her. That's what Rabbi said to Bnei Mechuzah. Okiru lenashaychu. You have to respect your wives in order that you should become rich. You want to become rich? Respect your wife. Yeah? Powerful words. Yeah? Okay. There you have it. Fine. Tanan Hatam. Okay? That was until now, that was all the. Says the Gemara, Tanan Hatam, we learned over there in Mishlaim Kelim, to do with the tanur of cheres, of earthenware. Chatacho chulyot, that if you came and you prepared the chulyot to make the tanun, and basically what you did is that you, how do you translate the English chulyot over there?
Yeah, put sand between the sections.
Sand between the sections, okay. So therefore, that's what you did over here, and you put them all together in order to make, right, just like a kli cheres, so you're coming and you're trying to bind them together. Right? Yeah. To melt them together. Venatan chol, yeah. He says venatan chol ben chulya le chulya. And you come and you're putting teeth, you're putting clay in between each one to put them together. Rabbi Eliezer was metaher this tanur because since they're going to be connected through the clay, so therefore it's not considered kli cheres, but rather kli adama. And kli adama does not make kabel tuma because it's adama. Adama does not make kabel tuma. It's only the kli cheres. Hachamim metamim. And Chachamim say that it's going to be tameh. Vezed nuntet amubet 59b. Vezeu tanur shel achnai. This was a tanur of achnai. What does that mean? Right? He says over here, the nachash is normal to go in, right? The zanav etzel piv v'kachu nira ki'igul. So basically it goes around, so it looks like always like a circle, right? Huh? No, so that's what we're going to see now. What is achnai exactly? The tanur of achnai. They went and they went back and forth, like mamash, like a nachash that is putting its tail by its mouth, so it looks like a circle. The timeu, but they still made it tameh. Because remember, according to him, he wanted to say that it's tahor. So we were saying that it's still going to be tameh. The Tana we learned in the Braita. Do you know Rabbi Eliezer came and he answered every single question that they had? They still didn't accept it. Amar lahem, he told them, Im halacha kemotif halacha like me. Charuv ze yochiach. The charuv tree, the carob tree, is going to be yochiach. Ne'ekara charuv mimkomo. It uprooted itself and it went 100 amot. The Amri Lanzabu say 400 amot. Amrulo, they said you can't bring a raya from the charuv. Chazar marmalem. Then he told them, okay, fine. Halacha kemotif halacha like me. Hamatamayim yochichu. The water. Chazru hamatamayim. It started going backwards instead of forwards. Meaning instead of the irrigation canal going forwards, the water started going backwards. Amrulo, they told him, he told him, the walls of Bet HaMikdash are going to prove to me. He took they started falling. Rabbi Yoshua screamed at them and told them, says, they're arguing in halacha. What does this have to do with you guys? Lona flew, they didn't fall because of the kavod of Yeshua, but they didn't go back up because of the kavod of Eliezer. And until today, they are still tilted. They're still like slanted. And then he told them, it's halachas like me, min hashamayim yochichu. Yatsa bat kol v'amra, malach evetz Rabbi Eliezer, halachak b'to b'chol v'kol, halachas like Rabbi Eliezer. Amad Rabbi Yoshua l'raglav, Rabbi Yoshua got on his feet and he said, lo v'shamayim. We do not paskin al pi bat kol. What does that mean? We don't paskin that. What does it mean? Once the Torah was given from Sinai, we don't pay attention to bat kol because they already wrote in the Torah Sinai that we go after the majority. So Rabbi Natan found the Eliyahu and he told them, "My avid kuchabrichu. What is Hakadosh doing in this moment?" He said, he was laughing. Why? He was smiling. He says, why? My children want me. My children want me. Why? Because at the end of the day, we don't pass. Even though it could be the halacha was like him, we go after the majority. And once we go after the majority, there's nothing what to talk about. The halacha is not like him. Amru, they said, right? They said, Oto ayom, on that day, it says, if you call ta'arot, shetiyeh Rabbi Eliezer, they brought all the ta'arot that they brought that Rabbi Eliezer was metahed, usrafum be'esh, and they burnt it. V'nimnu alav, and they went and they went against him. They put him in nidui. And they said, who's going to tell him? Rabbi Akiva says, I'm going to go. Maybe somebody else is going to go. He's going to destroy the entire world. So what did Rabbi Akiva do? Rabbi Akiva went, he put on black clothing, and he sat in a distance of 4 amot from him. And then what happened? He went and he said, what's the difference between today and what's going on? Amarlo, he told them, Rabbi, it appears to me that the friends are separating from you. So once Rabbi Eliezer understood, he understood that he already was put into Nidui, and therefore what happened? He says, Afu kara begadav, he tore his clothing, he took off his shoes, then he shmat, he went and he sat on the floor, and he started crying. And the entire world was hit because of the tsar of Rabbi Eliezer. Shlish bezetim, 1/3 of the world's olives was destroyed, 1/3 of the world's chitim was destroyed, and 1/3 of the seurim was destroyed. And some people say that even the batzek that was in the hand of a woman became bad. Tana. So we learned in the Braita, Ach gadol haya. It was such a big makkah beoto hayom. Shebechol makom shenatan bo enav Rabbi Eliezer nisraf. Any place where Rabbi Eliezer looked, it just burnt. And even from Gamliel, right, that he was the Nasi Bedin, that he put him in Nidui, Hayababi Sfina, it came a Sfina, Ve'amad ala nachshol letobo, and it came a big torment to actually drown him. Right? Aman, he says, this is because of Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanos. Right? This is Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanos. Right? So he says, Amad al Raglav, he came on his feet and he said, Ribono shel olam, galui v'yadua lefanecha, I didn't do it because of my kavod, or not because of kavod betaba asiti, ela lichvodcha, but because of your kavod, shelo yarbu machloket b'Yisrael. That there shouldn't be machloket in Israel, and miyad nachayam zapo. Immediately it stopped, and it didn't drown him. What does that mean? Immediately, why? Because the Gamliel, he was the Nasi. He was the one that actually put him into the what? Exactly. He was the one that put him into Nidui, right? What? Gamliel. He was the one that he put him into Nidui. But still, he went, and since he didn't do it for his own honor, he didn't do it because of Kavod. He didn't want machloket, because if not, then everyone will say, listen, Rabbi Eliezer is Sodek. Think about it. Anam Haaretz, right? They're going to come. They're going to see, look, Rabbi Eliezer, he's 100% correct. Look, everything changed. He uprooted a tree. The Amatamayim went backwards. The walls of the Bet HaMidrash caved in. Listen, he's 100% correct. Bat kol. What else do you want? No. He says, Ima Shalom, right? That was her name. Was the wife of Rabbi Eliezer. Yeah. So that means he put his brother-in-law in Cherem, in Nidui, because Ima Shalom was a sister, right, of Rabbi Gamliel. From that day onwards, she never allowed him to do nefilat apayim. Because nefilat apayim was nefilat apayim. He used to put his head down. She never allowed him to do nefilat apayim. Right? She made a mistake between the Yom Maleh and Yom Chaser. And what happened? And all of a sudden, right, she thought it was Rosh Chodesh, and therefore they didn't do nefilat apayim. It wasn't Rosh Chodesh, and he actually did Rosh Chodesh. Some people say no, it was an ani that came to the house, and he was calling on the gate. She gave him out bread. She went back and she found that he was doing Nefilat Apayim. And she told him, "Kum, get up, katalt leachi. You killed my brother." The hachi never, huh? It was the Akshala. You killed my brother. She says, "Why the hachi nafik she put him better Gamliel the shachib?" And then they went. No, because when he does tachunim, if he's going to start crying because of his suffering, then it's going to be against Rabbi Gamliel. So he says, "Amala." He told her, "Menayadat." How do you know? Amra le. She told him, "Kach mekulem bet Abiyaba." That's how I know from the house of David HaMelech. And remember, Gamliel was from the house of David HaMelech. Rabbi Gamliel was a nasi. The nasiut of Hillel HaZaken from David. Everyone came from David HaMelech. So she came and she said, "That's what I know from the house of my forefather. This is David HaMelech, David HaMelech." So he comes and he says, "Kol ha'she'arim ninalim." All the gates are ninalim except for Sharei Ona'ah. So therefore, since he was Sharei Ona'ah and he was caused suffering because of him, so she already knew that his tefillah would cause him, right, because of the nidui that he was put into, for sure it would cause him to come and to pass away. Right? What? We learned in the Braita. Amanet again. If somebody's going to cause a ger to suffer, over b'shlosha lavin, he's going to be over on 3 lavin. Ve'alohатzo, and somebody that's going to pressure him for money, over b'shnayim, with 2 averot. Ma'ishna me'aneh. Why is it by the onat varim that it's going to be 3 lavin? Dichtiv b'shlosha lavin, because it says 3 lavin. Ve'ger lo toneh, ve'chiagul itchav ger v'etzcha lo tunu oto, ve'lo tunu ish et amito. Ve'ger bichlal amito, he says what? Ger is bichlal amito, is not amito. Lo chatzonami also shlosha. Right? He says also it's written, "Lo tirchatzenu v'gel lo tirchatz v'lo tiyeh lo kenoshe." Ger bichlalu. Ella, he says, you're right. If somebody, whether it's going to be in money or in words, he is amito now, because now he's doing your maaseh amecha, and therefore you're going to be over on 3 different avirot. So if you pressure a ger for money, or you're going to cause suffering to a ger, 3 avirot, 3 lavin. Okay, Tanya, we learned in the Braita. Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol Omer. Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol, and again, this is Rabbi Eliezer ben Kanus, right? He was called Rabbi Eliezer Stam. Right here, why is he called a gadol? Obviously, is after what we just mentioned. So he's called Rabbi Eliezer Gadol. Rabbi Eliezer Gadol Omer, right, like Shabbat Gadol. Yeah, he says Omer. Torah. Why is it that the Torah came and warned these shlosha v'shisha mekomot in 36 different places? The Amri land. Some people say 46 shisha mekomot. So it's either 36 or 46. Pay attention to this. 36 places or 46 places in the Torah not to cause a ger to suffer. right? Mipnei shesuro ra, because he has a yetzer ra, and therefore we are going to be the get, and therefore we are going to be afraid that if you're going to come and you're going to start causing him suffering, right away he's going to flip, right? Because he already came from a bad from a bad place, and therefore since right now, right, you have this concept, so therefore was already brought down 36 times. Yeah, that's what he says over here, 36 times, or some people say it's going to be 46 times. Okay. Okay, to understand these numbers, it's actually it's just really nice. I would want to see the Shita Mekubetzet, right? Why exactly? What's the connection between 36 or 46? Yeah, he has on this? Okay, so Lina, I'm gonna check. Right? My dichti, what does it mean in the pasuk? Right? Why? He says, V'gelo tonem lo tichatzenu, ki girim yetem netzmitzayim. Tanya, we learned on the Braita, Rabbi Natanu men says, Mum shebecha, al tomar lechavercha. If you have a mum, don't say it to your friend. He says, why? That means basically, since you're Yisrael, you were getting, so therefore don't start telling them that they were getting also. I know that's what it says in the pasuk, that the people say, somebody that has somebody in his family, right, that they almost hung him, right? They almost hung him because of something. So so don't come and say, go hang for me this like fish or whatever it is, because again, it's like a gnai, meaning don't start coming and saying, because then you're hinting to him about that they almost hint, like Kilu hung, the other thing as well. So if it's going to be also a gnai.